So this is a lecture on the film, not an analysis of it. And the film I'm talking about is Atanarjuat, directed by Zacharias Knuk and produced by Asuma Productions in Igloolik, Nunavut. So I just wanted to point out some language signs of Inuktitut, and what I want to point out is, let me just get my highlighter. This is Inuktitut, and it is written in syllabics, a kind of a phonetic way of writing language. And this is just the breakdown of the sounds for the phonetics of Inuktitut. The objectives of this is a brief look at the critical praise for the film, a very brief discussion of genre in terms of this film, a synopsis of the film, and just about the struggles of getting it made, and about the production company and those makers. So this is coming from the Canadian Encyclopedia. It's a direct quote, and it is critical praise. So I'm just going to quickly read it. Based on an ancient Inuit folktale, Atanarjuat, the Fast Runner, is the first Inuktitut language feature film ever made. A critically acclaimed commercial success, it won numerous awards worldwide, including the Camera d'Or for Best First Feature at the Cannes Film Festival and 5 Genie Awards, including Best Screenplay, Best Direction, and Best Motion Picture, as well as the Claude Jutra Award, now the Canadian Screen Award for the Best First Feature. It is widely considered one of the best Canadian films ever made, and in 2015 was ranked #1 of all time in a poll conducted by the Toronto International Film Festival. So it is a very revered film. This is a film review written by Monica Reid, published in 2016. So quite a long time after Atanarjuat was released. Atanarjuat was released in 2001. And it's the first in a trilogy. So she's talking about this film quite a bit after it. And she writes, beginning in 2001, a series of films were produced which broke new cinematic ground on many levels. Dubbed the Fast Runner Trilogy after the title of the first of the 3 films, they portrayed the lives and legends of the Inuit people of the Canadian Arctic during 3 different time periods. What made these films stand out and at the same time made them seem at first glance doomed to obscurity was that they were made entirely in Inuktitut, the Inuit language. Even when presented abroad, they were never dubbed into other languages, only subtitled. The first of the 3 was presented at Cannes in 2001, where its director won the Camera d'Or. And I am not French, and I know I'm always apologizing for my pronunciation, and I'm doing it again, apologizing for my pronunciation. Award for the Best First Feature along the 20 film award nominations in Europe and North America. Its critical success was a little surprising. Not only was the film in a largely unknown language, but it, like the rest of the series, made no concessions to non-Inuit audiences. The acting is meant to be naturalistic, in keeping with Inuit mannerisms, vocal inflections, and facial expressions, which makes the characters' behavior a little difficult to gauge at times. The pace of each film also tends to be slow, allowing the camera to follow subtle facial expressions and watch people think for longer than is usually acceptable in conventional film. She continues, no effort is made to clarify distinctly Inuit activities or devices which are not immediately obvious, or to interpret Inuit concerns and values according to a European perspective. The non-Inuit viewer of the trilogy feels very much the outsider, watching a film made by and for an unfamiliar society. In spite of these barriers, the stories these films tell manage to reach across the cultural rift and make an impact. What I like about what Monica Reed writes is that she indicates all the kind of things the film had against it, and then indicates that despite all of these things that most people would think would make a film fail or become incredibly unknown or obscure, actually ended up being quite celebrated, actually kind of reversed and made this film special. And um, despite those, what people would think of as shortcomings, it actually celebrates the human condition. Genre is a noun, and it's just a category or classification. We see it everywhere. We think of it primarily in, like, bookstores, or when we think of music, and certainly film. The Fast Runner is classified as an epic, and an epic is a genre of a story that is defined by heroic or legendary adventures and presented normally, they're quite long. So you might be familiar with the Star Wars series. That is considered an epic. If you're interested in classical studies, Homer's Odyssey is considered an epic in poetry. The synopsis of the film is Atanarjuat, The Fast Runner is an epic film made by and about the Inuit peoples of the Canadian Arctic, telling a story of a crime that ruptures the trust within a closely knit group and how justice is achieved and healing begins. Director Zacharias Canuck and his writer, and I want to apologize, I've not been able to find a reporter or journalist or anyone who is saying Paul. So I'm going to do my best on this pronunciation. Director Zacharias Canuck and his writer Paul Apak Ongeline collected oral versions of an Inuit legend from several elders, collated them into a story, submitted the story to the elders for suggestions, and then filmed it as a collaborative expression. Making the film was incredibly challenging. Um, it was challenging getting it financed. It was challenging writing a mythic legend. Paul Apak Ongellyric, please forgive me, has said that we go to the elders and ask information about the old ways, about religion, about things that a lot of people have no remembrance of now. They are helping us write down what people would have said and acted in the past and what the dialogue would have been like. We speak baby talk compared to the elders, but for Atanarjuat, we want people speaking real Inuktitut. So there are a lot of issues making this film, even from the language of the Inuktitut, from history where they're turning to elders, from trying to get the myth, this kind of epic story of their history, accurate. As far as financing, Zacharias Canuck has said that it was almost impossible to make the film, and he said it was almost impossible based upon, being an indigenous person. I believe that Zacharias Canuck has broke down some of those issues, and that I'm not saying by any stretch that it's easy to be an Indigenous filmmaker, but I think that he has broke down some of those barriers. The production company here in Canada called Telefilm Canada, which is often responsible or helpful in financing films that filmmakers want to make here in Canada. Zacharias Canuck indicated that he believed Telefilm Canada prioritized English and French language productions over Indigenous language productions. Canuck then approached the National Film Board of Canada's documentary-only funding system for financing. So he needed to go to them and he needed to say to the National Film Board of Canada, this is how this film is similar or fulfills the dynamics of a documentary. I wanted to give a brief introduction to Agluluk Asuma Productions. It was founded by 4 individuals in 1988. Of course, Zacharias Canuck, as well as Norman Cohn, Pelusi Quilatalik, and it was joined a little later on by the main writer of The Fast Runner, Paul Apok Angeleric, and I am really butchering his last name. It was in, for 20 years it ran, and it made amazing films during those 20 years. Unfortunately, in 2011, it fell into bankruptcy. So I'm just giving you just 4 like biographies on 4 different sections for each of the 4 members. I'm not going to read them off. Of course, you guys can pause this little film and read them yourselves. So this is the conclusion of just a really brief consideration of what's kind of surrounding the making. I'm so sorry. It is Sunday afternoon and my son is tired of being in the house. So this is just a brief introduction to the kind of the making and the production company and what went into Atanarjuat, the Fast Runner. I will be posting an analysis of the film next week. There is a link on Moodle where you can access the film for free as students through the National Film Board of Canada. If you have any questions or concerns, or you feel that you want me to look at something more closely, please email me. All right, thank you very much, and I hope you're having a wonderful weekend.